Hey guys, welcome. Yasin here. So in order to, for me, as far as I'm concerned, that to get a feel of the market and what's going on, and if you're by yourself and you have no source to get what's happening in the market, I'll basically tell you just look at the moving averages. That's the first thing. Like, that's the very simple thing. You want a price to be above the moving averages. That's all. Once you start cracking, I'll tell you this: once we start cracking the 21, you wanna put a pause to your add-in positions. Like, to add in positions, once you start breaking below the 50, even though I have the 65 here, you wanna put a stop. Like, you may wanna probably start thinking about exiting some positions and all that. That's the simplest way to think about the whole market. Like, if you still have a lot of technical analysis, like your technical analysis skills still a little bit behind, and you're just trying to catch up and you're trying to feel the market and what's happening. Like, as long as the price is above the moving averages, like, just get the 8 moving averages out of the way. This one, the purple one, get out of the way. You just put 50 and the 21, and like I said, start cracking and closing below in that green line, the 21 or the 20. Just put a pause, and it's like a caution for you. And then the second defense thing is the 50 moving average. Once you start closing below that, that's a kind of stop. That gives you like a warning that hey, something's happening in the market, regardless of what the news it's showing and whatever anybody else is telling you. Anyway, so you want the price to be above moving averages. And another thing is, sometimes you can draw these trend line, like the one I'm drawing here on the SPY, and you notice since the follow through day on the 6th of April, like the SPY is part of the SPY index. So if you're trading the component of the SPY 500, like, you can see that it kind of respected it. Every time we go above that trend line, the market rejected it. Here and here and here, and so far. Right now, until this point, you notice here that we got above it a little bit, and that's what you want to watch when the market is getting exhausted. Like, those are top of the runs that market is telling you, hey, I'm gonna probably not crash, but I'm gonna have some violent correction. So that's a key point you want to watch. So a trend line like this will help you and guide you along the way, and tell you, like, once you stop violating those trend line, we'll give you an idea on what's happening. So far so good on the SPY. QQQ, same thing. You notice how we're respecting that trend line, and you notice back here that the market on the QQQ, it kind of changed that trend line. We were getting it was respecting it for a while. We started violating it here, and then we got a correction. So you want to watch for these when the market started getting out of the zone of those trend line. So looks fine so far on SMH, IWM. You can see the same thing here. So I kind of like adjust them sometimes a little bit, but overall they will guide you. They will tell you what's happening. As far as the IWM so far, I like the corrections. I don't want to see a stock or the index or whatever. You don't want to start having, like, for example, like, you having this angle, probably a 45 or a little bit 50 degree. I don't want to see the stock going like that. You're getting heading to a whole lot different angle. That's a sign of cautious. You want to be cautious at that time. The only one that I saw so far is SMH. It's kind of like giving me a warning here, but doesn't mean everything's gonna crash. But just the SMH semis. Look how we, like, that trend line. We tested it so many times since the beginning of the trend, and then we got out of it, and then we corrected with huge volume, and then we come back again, and then we even broke the previous high. It's kind of like I've never seen that before. I mean, it's kind of like something you want to keep an eye on. We did it. We broke out with good volume. I mean, that's kind of strength. Is this telling me that are we changing this trend line, and we hold up right there? I mean, that's relatively strong, but so it looks like we might start doing this, and then we might start doing that. We have an ascending triangle, so I'm just following it. It doesn't mean we're gonna come up here and start crashing. You want to keep that in mind, you know what I'm saying? Or if we start closing above here again, man, that's gonna you're pushing it to the edge. So you get the idea. So just keep that in mind. So those are the indexes. Another thing you may want to watch is like to get a feel of the market. You may want to go and visit a bunch of the ETFs and tells you where strength is. So I'm just talking to myself back in the days. Like I never had no clue. I don't. One thing that I'm proud of, I never watched the news. I never let the news tell me what to buy, when to sell. But I'm just talking in these videos, which are educational videos. I'm talking to myself 10 years ago, and what I would do, what I would get the habit of doing. So I would go and watch the ETFs and feel of the market. See, is the price above? That's simple. Just keep it as simple as possible. Is the price above the moving averages, or is it below the moving averages? You know what I'm saying? So, and visit all these moving averages. Anyway, I have a position on this one, by the way. If it's a bug, it's a global cybersecurity ETF. What attracted me to it is I looked at it. I was looking at it on a weekly, and I loved the volume here on this day, and then we've been flagging for a while. We attempt to break out, but it kind of pulled back a little bit in here, and then we bounced right back over that 21. I have a position on that one. So you get the feel of the market, you know, by looking and visiting all these ETFs, and it'll tell you what's going on. I tweeted about this one. This is cannabis. I think was it cannabis? Transformation Amplified. That I don't think it's a CNBS. That's the one this one and CNBS. I tweeted about it when it actually broke out right in there. I had no position back in time. It was a great run. So you visit and you look at all the ETFs, and they will tell you, are they above the moving averages or are they below the moving averages? Something funky is going on. Are we starting to break some higher lows, or what's happening? Are we breaking all-time high? So far, when I did that, I mean, look at the silver. I mean, we put in a cup and a handle here. Most of them, not most of them, like probably except gold, I think. The ARK, you want to watch ARK. An ETF belongs to Cathy Wood, so you want to watch that. When that start breaking, they'll tell you. Give you a heads up. So yeah, you want to watch all the ETF, and you go from there. You don't need nobody's opinion. Just watch the price, you know. So yeah, looking back to some of the FANG stock, Square, and sometimes what I like to do. So I look at the leading stocks, and leading stocks by the FANG stocks, and then the growth stocks, one of the best ones. And you look at Amazon, all those big ones, and then at the time, whenever you are, whatever time you're trading at, you want to look at the leading growth stocks at the time. Are they starting to crack? So if you're holding them, if you have any portfolio, you will have to start. You will starting to see some stalling. On the price movement. What I mean by stalling is like price will not move forward. I'll give you an example. DAR. So I think the market was correcting back here, and I think one of my first early videos, this one actually was breaking out, and I did made a video. I don't remember what video was it, and so this one actually was going up while the market was red, and I said this one was really good. So it broke back up, and then I had no position at the time, and it came back again. It broke, so I'm like, it was strong here, and all of a sudden it came back. Now here's one thing that one of the things that I was not doing back then when I started trading, it was like 10 years ago. If something that was good and you like the setup of it and it kind of fake you out, keep it on your watch list. You never know what could happen to the stock. And I used to get afraid of buying the stock back after I get stopped out. For example, this one, even if I put a stop here, I would have been out already. But look what happened. Like here was a really good buying point for me, right in here, especially when we close above these two, the high of these two breakdown candles, and we did it with volume. You see it right down here, and the stock after that just never looked back, and then it never even violated the 21 moving average, and then it kept going. We're talking about, and even the stock didn't even break out. This is not even the first time it broke out. It broke out, if you look at it, I mean, it was tightened right over here. Look at again, the stock was really not doing anything right below this blue line, right? And look at what the blue line is. It's resistance, right? So these are key things that I never looked back. I wish somebody would have told me when I was trading. You want to watch things like that, man. When the stocks make a move, for example, like that, and it's consolidating, so basically you're flagging. Stock is telling you something. Stock wants to go above high, and usually sometimes if there is a resistance, that stock will gap. Look at that tiny gap in here, right? And we did in volume, so the stock will jump above that resistance. Sometimes I like to get in way here, so my risk to reward ratio will be really great, so my stop loss will be tiny, and then to my reward will be high. So we will build in basically energy to pass above that resistance anyway. And then we broke back here, fake probably many people maybe, and then you could have got back in right in here. And then since then we never looked back. Look at that consolidation again. Look at that tightness. Look at that tightness. There is no sellers here. There is no volatility. Stock is not coming back to the 65 or anything like that. If I switch that these candles, just to give you an idea, to a line, look at that. The volatility is gone. There's no sellers. There's only buyers. Okay. I wish somebody would have told me this back then, man. And then we broke out again. You just follow it. Just follow it. Watch the. Anytime you have a violation of the 21 and it closed below it 2 days, you want to take some profit, or you could have taken some profit. I mean, it depends on your strategy, whatever you want. Whenever you want to take some profit, and then so I like to watch the 21 because relatively most of the stock, I would say most of them, they do respect the 21. They do. So when the stock closed one day here on a huge volume that day, and then we went back, we even broke previous high here, and then we came back again, we closed again below the 21. So you have 2 days. Okay, stock is telling you something. You can't probably see it now, but once I move to the weekly, here's what I meant by stalling. Stock is pushing, trying to make some new high prices, but it's failing. And look what it's doing here. That could be a trend reverse. Okay? So stock really hit the high over here, pushed back again, another week, pushed back another week, couldn't do it. Hold another week, push down, trying to push back again, So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, and the 6th one we just kind of starting to roll back. That's stalling. That's what you want to watch at the end of when the market's starting to crack down. These are early signs. Let's call that stalling. Before, I'm not saying that this is gonna crash for me, but for me, I would, if I was buying, if I had a stock back probably in here, or if I bought it back here. Either you can, like I said before, you can wait for a green line to start cracking, or you can do like a higher lows. Like you got a low here, and you got a low here, and you got a low here. So look where that low here comes along with the 65 moving average. So whatever you like, but I'm just giving. Once you start looking at the chart so many times, and you start getting comfortable reading it, and you read the behavior of the stock, that's when you might want to probably exit back here at 67 instead of coming up at 59. So that's quite a percentage. So yeah, I don't know what I said before, but I went a little too far. Let's look at the square. And yeah, like I said, you look at the ETF, you look at those trend on the indexes, and you look at the leading stocks. Square is one of them. It's really strong though. Is it cracking? Is it below the move? That's the first thing you want to ask yourself. Is it price below or above the moving average? Is above. Except in Nvidia, I have a position on this one back in this price, in this area here. Google, I love Google. Look what is it doing again. We talked about it. Like the stocks goes back up, and then it just going sideways. You know, and you always want to keep in mind it doesn't mean that it's going sideways, and the price action is getting tight. It doesn't mean that it cannot, that it won't roll over, and it's like 100% it will go up. Now you want to be as flexible as possible. Always be open-minded, because whoever bought it here, whoever pushed the button or and bought it and made a gap here, he or she can always make their mind, and something will change and information will come to the market, and they will like, you know what, this is not happening. So they know something that I don't know, and then you see the stock starting to violating this area. You know, you start getting this area, or you can do this, whatever. You get the idea. So PayPal looks good. Netflix a little bit lagging. That's what I said last week. Overall, it still looks good if you look at it in weekly. Try to look at the stock in a different time views. I like that. I like that candle over here, and it's just moving sideways. That's flagging. Look at the volume, trying downside here. Overall looks good, but it's just lagging. Facebook, it's just driving me nuts. I don't have no position. It doesn't drive me nuts. It just, comparing to the other ones, it's not doing good. Baba flagging, I haven't built enough energy yet to break and jump above that support resistance line. Tesla, I said this before, it closes below the 21 first time. It went up and then it came back after like over a week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it closed back again. And I said I don't like that price action. When the price starting to close twice below moving average, that tells me that the stock, it wants to still correct or go down. So I just take my profit or exit, whatever. So Master Visa acting the same week. Microsoft still good, going sideways. Nothing wrong with it. Look at it in the weekly. Anything wrong with the weekly? We had a breakout. Price action was getting tight. Look at that candle here. And then we traded for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks inside that candle. And then if you know things like that, you know how the stock could probably, what could do. I mean, you could build some position along the way here, and you know where your risk at. And once the stock start getting and closing below that huge volume, especially on the weekly, that tells me, hey, get out of the stock. Something's happening until the stock make its mind back up, like Baba. I had a friend of mine. He was telling me, Baba is still good. I was like, no, man, I don't like it. And he took my advice, and then he got out of it. It was like back here. He was trying to buy the low, especially when it comes to support right there. I was like, man, I don't like that volume. I don't like, what are you telling me, man? I don't like the stock. And luckily, I think he bought it back. I don't know what price he bought it, but he got out even, and the stock was trying to make an attempt. And what I always say, watch that 50 or 65. It will always, not always, but most of the time will act as a resistance. Look how we got rejected here. And then from there, we didn't even get back to the 21. The 8 acted as a resistance until things started changing. Luckily, he got out, like I said before here, and I called him. I was like, hey, remember what you were telling me here? He's like, man, thank God. So that doesn't mean because it's a huge stock, he will never come down. Trust me, man. It can go to zero. Trust me. And the stock momentum started to change. We're starting to flag here. And then you want to give it time. Things like that. When they get destroyed, man, you want to give it time. And then we made another move to the upside here. So 1 A to B, B to C, C to D. and then the stock is just moving sideways. You don't want it to starting to close below here. You don't want the moving average to start rolling over, you know, like the red, the 65 above the 21. You don't want that to happen. You want to see even more consolidation, or you want to see price stocks starting to move higher. Apple, I had a position on this one way back. I think when we're starting to like back on a sideways action here, I built a position and I held it for a while. I think I'm gonna exit it back here. I think it needs more time. It doesn't mean it's gonna crash. I think there's nothing wrong with it when you look at it in weekly. I just changed my mind and I saw something better. I'll tell you which one I bought. And then you're starting to close below that candle, 126, 127, and something's happening. You know, even though like I still have I'm still bullish on it. It just needs time. Same thing with EMD. You know, I think I bought it back. I exited and I bought it back here, right on the reversal, and I got like a small percentage of it. It's just still lagging. You know, other stocks are moving, and I mean, you don't want to keep your capital stuck in a stock that it's still building energy. Is there anything wrong with it? I don't think so. It's just base over base. You can see it. You know. You just need more time, and whenever it's gonna break, it's gonna break. So you see it moving in the weekly, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, I just saw, and I tweeted about Wix long time ago, and then I said watch this area, and as soon as it broke, it caught my attention, and I knew back then that they had earnings, and I saw that they were expecting a loss this day. This is when they released the earning. And then they did better than the loss. So when I saw the close here, that was bullish for me. I got in right there, right at that day. I'm still holding it. So this is one of the growth stocks that I'll be holding. Beautiful chart. Moving on to I did some research and I found a short list about some stocks that kind of attract me. ENET, Arista. Look at it on a monthly basis. Look at that great base. We're starting to get testing this previous high. Looking at it in weekly. It went up a little bit fast, and I like to see consolidations before, but hey, it's still. I mean, I like that candle right there. I really like it. You can put a stop loss right below there. You're starting to close below there. Something's changing. Behavior is changing in the market. Yeah, with my gap, I don't know what could happen, but I just like it. Love, I like it. It's building a base here. I like it. One of the strong fundamental stocks. But mostly I look at the fundamentals. But even though before I kind of ignored the fundamentals and I was focusing on only the technicals, now I kind of do both. So if I have like two stocks that I have to choose from, I will look at both fundamentals. I look at my risk. I look at the setup. I look at the volume. I look where we at on as far as the stock. Are we breaking out for the first initial base, or is it a pullback? So I look at all these variables before I get in. I like the story on Love. Fundamentals looks pretty good. And we're building a base here. You have this one, and then you have CELH. I like this huge stock. Got a base here, broke out. I thought this one was gonna fail, to be honest with you, but it did prove me wrong. You know, we're building another base here. You can see it. So you want to keep these in mind. SLH. This is a new IPO. I was gonna buy it yesterday, Friday, but I realized that they have earnings coming up. Looks good if you switch it to the hourly. I mean, you can see the price action getting tight right in here. All right, because I had my resistance previously right in here, and I kind of moved it right in a little bit, shifted really below here. You can see the resistance coming here, and then we broke out. Good entry right there, but like I said, good stock. It just they have earnings coming up. I don't know what could happen. Moving on quickly, SLQT. We're breaking out. It's a little bit too fast. Look at that move, man, from 21 to 29. It's a little bit too fast. I don't like that. Even though the stock probably can still keep going. It's same thing happened to QFIN. I included this back in one of my videos, and then I said I had no position back then. I looked for an entry position, price, but it never gave me any anything to trade against. You know, it just went up straight. And I said, watch this, the previous resistance here. You know, that and that here. Stop barely just made a pause, man. It just went up straight. So just keep that in mind. Yeah. So just if it kind of like comes back, probably pull back a little bit. Look how far away from the 21. Kind of a little bit stretched. So keep that in mind. I like Mogo, M-O-G-O. It already broke out here. I would like to see it. So to see it coming back a little bit, a day or two, consolidate. That would be great. You know, you look at it on hourly. Look at that price action. Boom. We went up straight sideways. I would like to see it consolidate a little more. What I mean by that is just like P-E-R-I. Look back here. We went up straight. Almost, I mean, we did broke out this previous resistance here and here. And then we just went sideways. I like that. When I see that price getting tight, there's no sellers. Only buyers left. I like to get in there. You can get in the breakout on hourly. I like to get in a little bit before. So it's still pulling back and you want to watch it. P-R-I. So I like to see it do that on Mogo. I would like to see it. But it looks, look at the volume. It looks good. AOUT. I like the price behavior here. Barely bounced and poof, push up higher. ENPH, one of the stocks I got a loss on this one back here. I'm still grinding on my process. I'm still making mistakes. It doesn't mean I'm perfect. Nobody's perfect. I got in right in here, and then I cut my losses right in here. But I didn't watch it. Like I got a loss. I should have got back in. There's so many things that I'd like to tell you guys. I'll make this video way too long. It will be like 2 hours. But few of them is like when the stocks got rejected and sometimes comes back in and then goes sideways. Man, you want to watch that. This is not really a perfect example here, but you want to do that. Usually when the stock breaks down, it will stay below one of those moving averages, and like I said, it will stay below it. You want to watch when the stock comes back and then goes sideways. Man, that tells you that's relatively strong. It wants to do something better, and it will not, like it's sometimes when it breaks like here, man, it won't give you a chance. So yeah, ENPH is building another base. You really want to keep an eye on this stock. So it's CELH, Love, LOVE, and then ENPH. You want to keep them in your watch list. EMSE, another one you want to keep an eye on. So these are not actionable yet, but you want to keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on them. Snap, I bought it Friday when the stock's starting to move. I like the flag in here, and so I had a position. NLS, I bought it back here. I got out of it, but I like the fact that it was still holding, and it's not holding any area. You see that yellow line? It's actually a previous resistance. So if I go back to the monthly, look back here, you got a resistance back there. And for me, usually the stock, if it's coming to a resistance point, you want to watch the reaction. Is it going to pull back violently, or is it going to stay there, or is it going to pull back just slightly? Well, this one, it broke and it stayed the whole week. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like over a week, right, consolidating right at the resistance. That's relatively strong, and I think, in my opinion, it still wants to go higher. Even though some stock that this week, I think so, they were acting weak. This one, like Ride, for example, I was watching it. I was gonna get into it here, but I knew this brown line was resistance. I didn't get into it. I had something better. Like I said, sometimes when I have too many stocks, I like to see which one is better, and I look at too many variables. It did act well, but look how violently we had resistance here. Barely another one here. Look how violently it kind of react on this day. So if I was gonna get in here, it may want to take some profit, some of it, and then that's what I would do. And then when it did this so violently on a huge volume, man, I would cut a huge position because it didn't act well. You want it to stay and build energy right below here, but and it didn't do so. So kind of like broke the 21, and then it stayed below it for like 4 days, almost a whole week. That's not a good sign. Until it comes back here, then I'll look at it. So NLS looks good. So it kind of broke it, but it didn't, had no reaction from it, and it kind of stayed consolidating, right? Consolidating right out that resistance, like it's challenging it, you know. Another one it's doing the same thing. Goes EA. Look what is it doing? Beautiful chart. Took some profit on this downtrend. Somebody came in, bought it back, and look what is it building energy right below that previous resistance. And look what I said. So we had a reaction here on huge volume, but we came back. Somebody bought it back, and then it just going sideways. What do you think is it doing now? If it's coming back and it's just building energy right below that resistance, you look at it on the weekly and look at that resistance again. You had another resistance here, almost like, oh, see, cup and a handle. Bam. So these are the things I like to not teach, but I like teaching how to teaching stock, but I was teaching myself first because I'm still in the grinding process. So I'm just teaching myself. If back 10 years ago, when I had nobody to tell me what's happening. So price behavior, like it's really meaningful. Moving on to the next one. Snap. I said I had a position there. PLL. I love this one. I had a position back here in this area. I love that big green candle, and it's just consolidating, going sideways. You look at it the weekly. Always look at different time frame. It just grinded. Look at the price. It's just grinding higher. If this doesn't make sense to you, look back. Change the candles to a line. What is it doing? Not even any correction. Look at things differently. See what's doing. But it's consolidating. For me, it's just consolidating. And look at the price action of the whole 2 weeks probably here. It's just inside this big candle. You're starting to crack below that green candle. Closing below it, that's not good. Home, beautiful price action. Look at that huge volume. I like it. Really good. You just want to watch, again, look at the monthly, look at the weekly, and look at previous resistance where they could be. So you had one here. Right here, you got resistance here and here and then here. So you want to watch that. We already broke that. So what is the next one? That could be right in here, here and here. So when you come in here, you want to keep an eye on it. So going back to the daily, right there, part of the area, right, 31-ish area. You want to keep an eye on it. So we can just rock right through it, or we can sometimes just pull back. So you want to watch the reaction. CURI, I just like the chart here. Beautiful breakout and just going sideways. I just like the chart. I wouldn't get in here, but I like to show you the chart. ZDGE, beautiful again, consolidating right inside. We're just actually trading right below in this range. Nothing fancy. I like this one. I never seen this stock before. When I screened this morning, I found it. GMAF. I think it's in the software sector. We broke the low of that initial IPO here, and then I've been told that, and I've seen people, they said that some hedge fund, they like to do their homework when the stock start breaking here. They want to know more about the stock, what's going on. But I like the stock when it did move from 30 to 40. That's quite a move, $10 for a share. And then look at the volume on Friday. That's a pickup on volume right there. That's a good risk to reward ratio right there. When they have earnings, I have no idea. But I like how the stock is still sticking to that 8 moving average. And it broke this pivot right here. I like that. Anything can happen, you know. Bridgetown holding. I just like the chart. I don't want to show you. I want to show it to you. Digesting in price, in trading all this week, all this time inside this candle. That's bullish. And then we're starting to crack these previous highs. for another stock just to keep on the watch list, even though this trend line is starting to change from this angle to that angle. So we were from here. You just want to keep that in mind. See, look at the angle, look at the higher lows here. So this trend line, this one is starting to change. Keep that in mind. And when you start getting like that, you just want to keep in mind that you don't want the stock to start accelerating and going up, straight up, vertical like that. That's kind of sign of you don't want that to happen. Next one was Meg. I just like the chart, making a base over base. You had a VCP here, broke out on good volume, coming back, retest, and going sideways. You want to watch that trend line for another breakout. Swav, they just released earning. I like that candle. Anything below that, that's a warning. You want to get out. I like them when they're quiet and then they just keep going, grinding, man. I like them when they just not much volatility in the stock. I think I own one of them. It's called OMCL. Yeah, look at this one. Quiet, just broke out when the market just had a small correction, came right back up. GAN broke the previous resistance and just going consolidating. Pretty good. You want to keep that in mind. Spotify, I just noticed that beautiful chart. We broke out and just we went sideways for a while. Earnings coming up late April, which is good. Looking at it on the weekly, bam, beautiful. Not all-time high, but hey, look at that candle, that middle one. All these candles were inside that candle. Did we break below it? We didn't even close below 305.50, 306. We came close to it, but we never did. Beautiful. I think that's actionable there. BRP, you want to watch that, even though earnings are coming up real soon. This is like, I want to show you this just because how sentiment can change in the stock. So we broke down here broke down to 65 and we traded below it, came back, consolidated sideways. That could be something here. So the key level I want to watch is that brown line. Why that brown line? Because we had a resistance here. You get the idea. We have this one, and then we have this one. Stock bounced here, bounced here, came back, and then finally we broke down. So you want to keep an eye on it. So you're starting to close above that brown line. Is good, is bullish for the stock. It just sentiment kind of changed from bearish to bullish. And then you move it to the weekly. I would like to watch the breakdown of that candle over there, 30.11. So you're starting to close above that. So first of all, it will be the brown line. You're starting to close above that. That's a good sign. This is the first good sign for me. Beautiful reversal candle. And then the brown line, and then you want to close above that breakdown candle. PFSI, it's building a base, higher lows. So you look back, it's building a base. And another thing is, when I was looking at all the previous, when I was screening a bunch of stocks, some of the stock are still building bases. So that tells me the market is still bullish. I mean, there's nothing bearish about it. So this is on the plus side on when I was telling you to look at the ETFs and look at those trend line on the indexes. When you go through your screens, you don't want to watch stocks that are stalling. So you kind of feel that when you see the stocks that are setting up. That's bullish, that gives you the theme of the market and what's happening. So, yeah, this is it for today. I hope it's like almost 40 minutes. So I'll keep talking all day, but I hope you guys find value in it. Subscribe, give me thumbs up to tell me that you like what you see, if you want to do more. And see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.